RetroDaze.
Normality is overrated. Not just overrated, but tantamount to conformity. Yeah, there's some comfort to be had knowing you're dressing, talking, and behaving the way most other people do in whatever societal context you happen to exist in. But for me, at least, there's always a troublesome nagging at the back of my mind. A voice that's quietly telling me something doesn't feel quite right about fitting in. Because fitting in means assimilating, and assimilation precludes the possibility of greatness.
Perhaps that's why, whether you fit in as a kid or not, we were so obsessed with bizarre characters. Call them weird, call them strange or atypical, the truth was we'd love them all the more for their unique brand of crazy. From Max Headroom to Yahoo Serious, Ernest P. Worrell to Urkel and Pee Wee Herman, these pop culture icons of the 80s were, for some reason, enthralling. Being entertained by bizarre characters wasn't relegated to the 1980s, of course. Our obsession with people who didn't fit the norm goes back before movies and television. Heck, it probably goes back to before recorded history, but we'll attempt not to stray too far. Let's take the Jester as a prime example. Though most of us will at once think of the European version of the Fool, Jesters have existed in other parts of the world as well. From Sima Xiangru's Fu, Rhapsody on the Shanglin Park, written during the Han Dynasty from 141 to 87 BCE, then come the Jesters, musicians and trained dwarfs, and singing girls from the land of Titi to delight the ear and eye and bring mirth to the mind. Jesters were similarly popular in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and elsewhere in the world. Sam Wolfe reports that during Egypt's 6th dynasty, an official wrote to the pharaoh Neferkare to let him know he'd found a dancing dwarf. The pharaoh's response is the first instance known to us of a monarch delighting in a jester. He wrote, "Come northward to the court immediately. Thou shalt bring this dwarf with thee to rejoice and gladden the heart of the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Neferkare, who lives forever." Jesters were atypical performers. They were entertainers that didn't act the way people were meant to act, and through this nonconformity, viewers found joy. From her book, Fools Are Everywhere, Beatrice K. Otto writes, "An individual court jester in Europe could emerge from a wide range of backgrounds. An erudite but nonconformist university dropout, a monk thrown out of a priory for nun frolics, a jongleur with exceptional verbal or physical dexterity, or the apprentice of a village blacksmith whose fooling amused a passing nobleman." The entertainers of the 1980s struck us in much the same way as jesters of old, and such was the case with these bizarre characters we came to love.
It comes to my attention that society is having trouble understanding the basic concept of Max Headroom. It's pretty simple, really. There's your hero, Edison Carter, TV reporter, his partner, Theora Jones. If you ask me, there's a little bit more than just news going on between them. Then there's Max Headroom, Carter's computer-generated alter ego. I mean, I created him, but I can't control him. A simple plot, a charming show.
Max Headroom right after Moonlighting, next.
In 1985, Max Headroom made his first appearance in a made-for-TV movie called Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future, broadcast on Channel 4 in the UK. Originally planned as 5-minute shorts to be aired during the talk show, the concept was expanded into an hour-long movie created solely to introduce the character and give him a substantial backstory ahead of his debut as the host of The Max Headroom Show, which started airing 2 weeks later, also on Channel 4 in the UK. It was an interesting concept, especially when you consider the vastly different formats and the fact that nothing from the movie was ever directly referenced in the Max Headroom Show, in which Max was a music video host who occasionally interviewed guests and interacted with an audience. The show came to the US during the second season in November of 1985 with some added voiceover from Max, followed by the third season in December of '86, airing on Cinemax. After its cancellation on Channel 4, Cinemax produced a final 6 episodes rebranded as the original Max Talking Headroom Show. While these were America's first introduction to the bizarre character played by Matt Frewer and advertised as the first computer-generated TV presenter, it was really through his role as the global spokesperson for Coke that he became part of the pop culture zeitgeist of the 1980s.
Ouch. You remember the first time you tried these games? Space Cadet. But with practice, Captain Galaxy. And when you first tried Coke, I bet you said, no, thank you. But hey, let's try Coke again. Because once you got that new wave taste, you want to try it again, and again. Practice makes perfect. Catch the wave, Coke.
By 1987, while Max's visage appeared on merchandise like t-shirts, posters, and digital watches, he returned to American television sets in the new dramatic series entitled simply Max Headroom, which aired 14 episodes across 2 seasons from 1987 to 1988, except for the final episode, Baby Grow Bags, which premiered on Bravo in 1995. As something of an interesting side note, on November 22, 1987, an incident occurred which would become known as the Max Headroom signal hijacking. On 2 television stations in Chicago, WGN-TV and WTTW, a brief pirate broadcast broke through, first at 9 p.m. for roughly 17 seconds, and again 2 hours later. The first intrusion had no audio, but in the second, which also lasted longer, a voice could be heard.
Just roasting, working the floor. What's the way? Your love is fading.
As quickly as he became popular, Max Headroom faded from television, starting with a cancellation of his final series, which couldn't beat CBS's and NBC's ratings juggernauts, Dallas and Miami Vice. Other proposed projects and revivals failed to be produced, and Max Headroom's many appearances across news, talk shows, and commercials dried up. Though there was brief reporting of a Max Headroom reboot coming to AMC back in 2022, the status of the project is currently unknown.
Yahoo Serious is Young Einstein. Yahoo is funny. Yahoo is hot. Yahoo is
so cool. It's fabulous.
Yahoo is wonderful. Yahoo Serious is Young Einstein. Rated PG. Now play.
Another bizarre character import that became a huge part of American pop culture was Yahoo Serious, an Australian-born actor who had changed his name from Greg Peed in 1980 before his leap to stardom. At the age of 21, after his expulsion from art school, Serious co-wrote, co-produced, edited, and directed a 36-minute documentary called Coal Town. After some years of starring in experimental comedies and traveling abroad, Yahoo was inspired to write his breakout movie, Young Einstein, which he also directed and starred in. The international hit, shot on a shoestring budget, Yahoo partly earned by selling his old car, Young Einstein grossed over $100 million and reached #1 in many countries. In America, Young Einstein was also incredibly popular, becoming one of the most successful Australian movies ever released in the States. As is usually the case when a movie hits as big as Young Einstein did, publicity tours and big signing deals followed. Yahoo Serious was plastered across magazine covers like Time and Mad. He appeared on news reports and in commercials, and eventually he was even given his own show on MTV.
Got to find a host for this show. No. Yahoo Serious.
Yeah, the star of Young Einstein.
What is he, some kind of genius?
No, it says here that he's stupid.
Stupid enough to work for $2 a day.
Nobody's that stupid.
$2 a day? Wow! Oh, at least they could have landed the plane.
Business or pleasure?
Pleasure, please.
Nationality?
Australian.
Name?
Yahoo.
Yahoo? You can't be serious.
That's right, Yahoo Serious.
Yahoo Serious? The special host of MTV's big, serious primetime show.
Four years later, in 1993, Serious wrote, directed, produced, and starred in his second major feature, Reckless Kelly. While the movie didn't reach the same commercial heights as Young Einstein, it was the most popular film in Australia upon release. Otherwise, by all accounts, reception in the States was lukewarm at best. The nail in Yahoo's coffin came from his third and final major release in 2000, Mr. Accident, which, like Reckless Kelly, only saw success in Australia. It seemed that Yahoo's unique shtick didn't have the staying power he might have hoped, and despite the initial interest in his work, consumers quickly grew weary of him. His last bit of major press came in 2000 as Yahoo, the man, unsuccessfully sued Yahoo, the search engine, for trademark infringement.
Hey, Vern, look what I found in my daddy's closet. You know, I bet you this is from the big one. You know, WW2. Boy, I bet them were some great times. I know, because I never miss Hogan's Heroes on WDBJ7. You know, with Schultz and Hogan and Commandant Klink. Hogan's Heroes. Weekdays on your hometown station. You know, Vern, this must be some kind of a cigarette lighter. I know nothing. I see nothing.
Trained Shakespearean actor and accomplished stand-up comedian Jim Varney found widespread fame when he developed the character Ernest P. Worrell with John Cherry III for the advertising agency Carden and Cherry. Varney already had a thriving acting career prior to Ernest, starring in stage productions, making regular appearances on Johnny Cash and Friends, and playing a recurring role on Fernwood Tonight. But it was this new character that ended up eclipsing much of his earlier work. For Carden and Cherry, Varney would portray Ernest in over 3,000 commercials. The character became so popular that many of these commercials would be shot back-to-back in a single day, reportedly up to 25, with only the name of the company they were advertising changing between takes.
Were you ever surprised that you made so much money out of the commercial part? That really ended up being where all the money is?
No, it didn't get me on a power trip or anything. It was nice.
What have you been the spokesman for over the years? I know that out here in Los Angeles, you do some kind of car village or Cerritos car lot or something. What
Cerritos Auto Square.
Auto Square, okay. Yeah. And I know you push milk.
Dairies, car dealerships, savings and loans.
Savings and loans?
Furniture companies, gas companies. You know, the local gas companies. We've sold about everything. We've done 3,000 film, television commercials, which I think is the world's record.
It'd have to be.
It'd have to be, wouldn't it? For film. Whew. I mean, maybe Cal Worthington on videotape has done more.
You still doing it?
Yeah, we're still. In fact, I have a shoot coming up in a couple of weeks.
So you've got these regular clients, and they just keep on doing.
Well, we have some regular clients, and if we pick up new clients all the time for different products, and we gauge Ernest on the size of the market. So we don't gouge people who are in a small market. We gouge people in the big market.
Ernest is a neighbor or relative that we've all had at one time, Varney said. He's abrasive, but he doesn't mean to be. He gets excited and ends up standing on your toes. I try to make him clownish, and I don't want him to be too low-key, and he's physically funny. And truly, Ernest was never low-key. With his signature catchphrases, expressive face, and big personality, he made a huge impression on young viewers especially. It's easy to feel cynical about Ernest, as he starred in his short-lived TV series and went on to film movie after movie, eventually being forced into straight-to-video releases for the final films. But I prefer to remember him as I did as a child, watching this actor who was as close to a cartoon as a person could be. As Varney once said, "Everybody likes Ernest unless they're too cool. The people who like sports cars and sunglasses are not our audience. They like that action-adventure tough guy stuff," he said. From 14 down and 25 up, we have a huge audience. Older people aren't afraid to laugh at him, and kids aren't self-conscious yet. As popular and pervasive as Ernest P. Worrell was, Varney still starred in other roles, which is sometimes a difficult feat for an actor who is largely known for doing one thing. Among many other roles, he starred as Jed Clampett in the '93 movie The Beverly Hillbillies, played Rex in Wilder Napalm, Rudy James in the film Snowboard Academy, and voiced Slinky Dog in the first two Toy Story movies before his untimely death in 2000 from lung cancer. Despite all of this, Varney never appeared to issue Ernest, never looked down on the character or felt held back by him. As he said in an interview, "I don't regret a minute of it."
Oh God, why she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. Know what I mean, Varney?
For as much as we initially loved many of these bizarrely wonderful characters, we dispensed with them far too quickly. The very things that made them a pop culture phenomena eventually eroded our fascination until the repeated catchphrases and gimmicks wore thin. We turned our attention elsewhere. We saw it time and time again, and while I absolutely understand how oversaturation of a character can eventually lead to fatigue, I can't help but feel like we were being too hasty. Now maybe it's only hindsight or the fact that they've been gone from the limelight for so long, but I'd welcome a new Max Headroom series or Yahoo Serious movie. And though Jim Varney is gone, a team of creatives recently came together to successfully kickstart a brand new graphic novel adapted from a screenplay called Ernest and the Dreamstone, proving that love for Ernest P. Worrell and Jim Varney does still exist. Do you feel the same way about these bizarre characters of the 80s, or are you glad they faded away? What other bizarre characters would you like to see us cover in future videos? Well, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate Yesteryear, right here on RetroDaze. Know what I mean?
Clicky clacky.